And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Mr. Strad? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats.
Yeah, that's right. There's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. They're whispering to each other.
Should we do anything?
Can we press that? I guess so. Let's do it.
Which one?
The cob. The kappa.
The cob? The slob?
Yeah. Slop.
Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Graydon? Inspector, Mr. Graydon. Blimey, you're trying to give me a heart attack? You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion with this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. Also, by the way, I didn't ever think of looking over there during the cross-examination. So, I went through the entire cross-examination multiple times. I had to look up online for this part.
Well, yeah, because there's like a little bloop that warns you that something's going on.
Yeah, so I never thought of doing that.
Right?
But
sneaky. I mean, it is the final boss, technically, right? So,
you ain't got anything to talk about with it, shady gent like this. And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. Which hasn't been long. It was much longer when I went through the entire thing 3 times. It's as if they've been negotiating. You kindly refrain from talking amongst yourselves while the witnesses give testimony. Yes, sorry, my lord. What are those two talking about? Mr. Stroud, continue with the testimony, please.
Okay,
now we actually have to press.
Okay.
It would have been redundant because we would have had to do all the pressing again after pursuing them anyways, so that's why. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Mr. Strad? This is the same. There we go.
Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Under testimony 2 months ago. I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilda was the sole passenger, did you not?
False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say.
I suppose they'd tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilda and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot.
What were they talking about?
Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind.
Well, anyway, they got louder and louder, started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe, and then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all.
And I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah. That's what gave me away.
Was the disc you saw this disc?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It's right next to the cove lying on the floor.
This disc could belong to the victim, perhaps.
I don't know, but McGill did picked it up pretty smartish. Then he sat the cub with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at the time?
Told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared the way he was looking at me though. I thought if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me loads of questions. Like what my name was and where I lived and all that. And he asked me if I've been about being a diver too.
But after a while, what had happened to the carriage was noticed.
Yeah, that's right. First there was some kind of rapping noise.
Somebody's rapping? Magilda does sound like a rapper's name. I'm named Magnus Magilda and... I can't rap.
And I'm here to say, I wish you the top of the morning, eh?
There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats in the roof deck, I believe.
That's right. Hey, my boy! My boy! Precious little meatball and ladies first. Oh, they must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cub with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and Magilda got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where it started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the 2 cubs from the roof ran off to fetch the slops.
They immediately left to fetch the police. It would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident.
Oh.
That left Magilda the driver and you still at the scene.
Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe.
Yeah, Beppo!
A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
I love Beppo.
What did Magilda and the driver say to each other?
I don't know what happened and stuff like that, mainly. That's when Magilda slipped the driver some tin and did a run to the pawn shop roundabout.
The pawn shop obviously being Windibanks and Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursions to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand.
Indeed, Lord Von Zieks.
Magilda took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up and all careful like before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it's got to be worth a few bob.
Yes, Gina was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon in the pawnbrokery.
The driver looked pretty happy when Magilda flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say enough to no one.
Threatened you how exactly?
Told me I'd only be able to scarp her if I did exactly what he said.
Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's it. There was one other thing he said.
Which was?
He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it.
The ticket? Well, I never.
Said if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug to stop it from being forfeited. And left me with some brass to pay for it.
But really, why on earth had Mr. McGilda done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police. It makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilda had the driver deposit at Windibanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs.
Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up.
I don't think it's fair, though, for Gina to be, like, charged with perjury when she was threatened.
Yeah, she was blackmailed, so that would supersede the perjury if the blackmail comes out to be true, right? Because that's another case.
I guess.
But yeah, you're correct, I think, in the court of law.
Well, in our court of law, but I'm talking about this court of law.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, counsel. I've heard enough. I'm talking about this court of law that punishes lawyers who
do their job,
who do their job to their best of their ability, but don't have the full information, so do it incorrectly. Not even to say that defending somebody is incorrect, anyways. Like,
yeah.
I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired in the omnibus.
It would appear that on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. The negotiation concerning this disc, however, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilda took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life.
Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, though I don't understand why as yet.
And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilda's coats and its contents were due to being forfeited.
I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the Cub died right after this trial. I knew that.
She decided you would try to claim the articles as your own.
Well, why not? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have gotten them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime.
Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilda was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be?
I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. I probably was going to sell it.
I don't think he needed to sell stuff for money.
You can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. I want to get a t-shirt with Sheena just saying thinking
My
ain't no
lord.
crime.
The evidence your lordship requests is located and ready for the court inspection, sir.
It's gonna be a music box, and the disc is actually the Blue Badger theme.
A mysterious little box deposited by McGilda 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle.
Or the Steel Samurai theme.
Or the Steel Badger theme. I now wanna mash up now.
Oh my gosh. Is this the last save slot of this first game?
Last, like...
This is the last time it's going to tell us to autosave?
Yeah. But
So
we're not
last autosave
finishing...
before the end of the game.
We're not finishing it tonight, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, that's a milestone.
Yeah. There's still a couple hours left, so...
Oof.
This is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with a pawnbroker by Mr. McGilda 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder. Wait, oops. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelves is touched by whoever broke into the shop. Sorry, my lord. I wanted to do my best impression of you.
It's very good.
Quick! Let's open it and see what's inside. It's a music box. I knew it.
Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow, although in truth, I had an inkling that it might be the case.
It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement.
Then is it too much to expect?
I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord.
What if it's a song that's actively playing right now?
That'd be really weird. So here are the means to play back Mr. McGilda's disc, deposited at Winterbanks at much the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilda's disc. It was a disc of his victim in the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilda?
Hasn't raised his hand in so long.
I believe the answer will become clear if you listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court listen to this curious disc at last.
Oh.
Wait, my lord. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? Music box the disc are, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. This disc may very well have been motivated the culprit in the case to commit murder. Clearly there's every chance that's fundamentally important to understanding what's happened.
The prosecution has no objection.
But no, that piece of evidence is police property now, you can't...
Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening.
Ugh. No further delays, please. Play the disc.
The inspector runs over and slams it. Oh.
What?
It's a coded message.
What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No, that's not what I call music.
Volume 37 with
Dang
the new
it!
hit.
I wanna make that just a spoof series now. Now that's that's not what I call music.
And it's just the hits, but it's the hits you don't like.
No, it's not it's not music. It's things that are objectively not music. One is just like a 4-minute track of a cat meowing intermittently. One's just traffic.
One's a deer rubbing its hide against a log. You know, just like random. I wish I knew Morse code.
One is like, I don't know, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, Justin Bieber's baby.
No, just him singing his music. Oh, that's not music.
Not even just Justin Bieber existing in his house.
No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence.
Do they really not? I can't believe that.
Mr. Graydon. This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. I want that to be the actual what happened. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept this music box offer as a little in the way of clues.
No, it doesn't! It does! It has so many
Are you
clues!
ready to move on, Council?
No!
Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but... is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue?
It could be a clue. I wish I would have put absolutely, because it's funny to think that everything's in binaries.
I believe it could be relevant, my lord.
Juror number 5.
Good lord, but how could it be? It's an abomination, Council, mere noise. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. Well, Graydon stands there chortling victoriously. The inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. That's making him appear extremely on edge.
If that's the stance of the defense, my Nibonese friend, answer me this.
Oh.
Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has in this case?
It's the defense's belief the sound emanating from this music box is...
Not supposed to be music.
it's not an unusual genre of music.
That's my parody. It's not supposed to be music. Volume 5. So it's random noises that sound like music, but it's not.
And then we have one track that's just the same on both your...
Yeah, it's
your
just
thing
Justin
and
Bieber
mine.
existing. It's like, it's
Just-
not supposed to be music.
Just because this is a music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it.
Nani?
I'm on the right lines here, I must be.
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Haley, Runo.
Oh no!
It's infectious.
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told...
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, excuse me, my hallowed chalice makes me very burpy. Well, now that you've told us that they are not... I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do you enlighten us, my Nibonese friend?
Well,
It's...
Surely you have an idea in mind because of it. It will be the death of your ill-formed argument.
This is the time in the series
exactly.
where I wish that I could just speak to the characters directly. Just be like, can we just cut all this? I know already.
This music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness.
Like, is that something that you go through as well, Chad?
Maybe, but then half the time it ends up being like, oh, I was wrong anyways.
Well, I mean, there was one time that I was wrong and I thought I was right and I wanted to just cut to the chase. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge my failures. But I'm not wrong in this case.
They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet.
Runa! I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Really?
Really, the way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris.
This is definitely going to be the new Blue Badger.
Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken. Yeah, this is my new, starting soon music.
Dun, 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 dun.
It must mean the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah, could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Is that what these sounds are?
Something just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one in this music box.
Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
It's a familiar sound, a soundy sound. It sounds soundy.
I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If it searches the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all. Then what the devil is it, Counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now.
The prosecution demands that my Lord Liberty's friend present proof now. Tangible proof of his latest wild speculation.
Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds this music box disc is...
The newspaper?
Reasoning?
It's information that's being leaked to foreign agencies.
Are you saying that the foreign agency is Ryunosuke?
No, it's that.
No, I like
disc.
I like the implication that he's the spy.
Oh, fair. But you know what I mean, right? Like, the disc was the way that they were transmitting that information illicitly.
I know what you're getting at. Today's paper, Counsel. The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pickpocket Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. Ah, no, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down. Ministry Mall classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter, being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I have heard that the international transmissions along supposedly secured lines are somehow intercepted and leaked to various other countries.
And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams.
Of course.
Juror number 5, your input, please.
Oh, stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter?
You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station, Mr. Graydon, did you not?
Yes, that's correct.
In the particular station where you work, deals with government communications and newspaper reports.
Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important.
Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound?
Hmm. You don't mean to say, is it?
That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by a telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse Code.
But I don't believe it.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer.
Are you suggesting that this music box disc contains stolen government secrets and Morse code?
Wild.
Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Counsel, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason, and what is capital punishment? Sorts of words I'd have expected to know. Sovereign government's confidential information. Hostile nations will surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, there was a very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus.
But in the end, the gilded perish, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed to the pawnbroker.
My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. In order to do that, we'd have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous.
So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you?
Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while the pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection! Only I get to insult the nationality of the defense. Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands that the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense.
Delighted, I'm sure.
The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Wonderbank. That being a most flagitious offense, I'm not sure if I said that right, for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous crime of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let's proceed. You may...
You got it. You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We've got things to say.
I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are?
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie.
Name's Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland.
That's right. We're what they call... the Three Skulkin Brothers. Oh my gosh!
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing.
This entire time, it's been this entire time. Edgar Benedict is the missing Skulkin?
You think that?
Look at those extravagant hand movements and gestures.
It looks nothing the same.
This was the biggest plot twist that the game has ever thrown in my direction.
A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man.
Look, all we done is break into the gaffs the other night like what he told us to do.
If we don't know the dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
What, Mr. Governor? What's up?
Mr. Skulkin.
It's Mr. Skulkin.
Do I take
Mr.
it?
Skulkin.
Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? On the night in question, you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally. And moreover, you did so as a party of three in a collaboration with Mr. Graydon here.
Hoo-ha! We
did, Gov. We did.
We did.
Dang it, we all said it in unison.
Right down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon?
I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter again was mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight up job.
And what about the great geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Ugh. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed.
Well, I say that you didn't kill the guy. You denied it, so you did it.
Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in these proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into the court record as evidence.
That's so funny. This is Ringo and Nash arguing the entire time.
Cross-examination! Acquaintance sculptor. I'm a communications officer, could possibly still confidential government secrets.
So, is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted. How could I possibly know?
Let me see the brothers.
What do you mean by that?
Let me
Any
see the brothers.
important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists.
Oh, they're okay. I thought they were gonna do something goofy. Oh, the game ruined it.
General members of staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information.
Oh no, stop! I must say something, stop!
Let me guess. Juror number 5.
We regular communication station officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. Our team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry. And Mr. Graydon is the team leader.
That's fascinating.
Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop currently impresses the vitals. Stop.
Yeah, and you're incriminating him.
Yeah, at this point, like, his testimony should be thrown out as well, because he's already been shown to lie multiple times.
I mean, have we shown him to lie?
He just said that, like, literally, the
It's-
pressing thing was a lie.
It's her word against his, though. Like,
So you have access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Graydon.
well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent and ciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. They're written in unknown letters.
Oh no, stop! Let's say something, stop!
No, don't tell them they're written in Braille. Sorry, Pokemon references.
Mr. Graydon! Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with communications team!
Oh, half that cut out, but I think we got enough of it.
He assists them in ensuring that they are all areas.
We got the first half of that. Jeez.
And he's received and he's received the top prize at the Cipher Cracking Convention 5 years in a row now.
That's fascinating.
See, another line. You're the highest skill operator. Stop currently the presence of idle. Stop.
Well, your idol would appreciate it if you'd keep your mouth shut. You should really pick our idols more carefully. I tell you this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Besides, the sounds produced by their music box aren't even Morse code.
She just interrupts immediately. It's like, oh, I love the action hour.
They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course.
Surely it can't be that my learned friend isn't familiar with Morse code.
Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance.
You're telling me you don't know Morse code?
I'll just see you laughing.
I mean, what happened to the mission of basics for you, sir?
A lesson here in court.
Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones.
Tones, you say?
Tones? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining these in different ways, you construct letters.
I see.
For example, this is A. This is B. When you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you?
But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it's the same and everything.
There are no discernible meanings to this apparent random sequence of sound.
Yeah, I realized that from the start, but I wasn't saying anything. It doesn't have the dashes.
Yeah, but the dashes can be the pause in between the longer notes.
No, pauses between letters. I know a little Morse code because I taught myself SOS as a high school student because I was convinced it would be useful in my life someday.
I mean, we don't have to be prosecutor and defense in this argument, but like I've taught Morse code to Boy Scouts. I was a camp counselor.
Oh, nice.
And you can use semaphore flags to do messages encoded in just waves, and there's no dashes in a wave. You're just waving the flag around, you know? And semaphore is different than Morse, granted, but like I argue that the space in between the dots can constitute as a dash.
It's still, most of these aren't letters, so...
Yeah, I mean, they'll tell us what it is.
So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code.
No!
My entire argument dash.
Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in future. Ugh, stop. Nothing to say but stop.
Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Iris?
I mean, if the government secrets are somehow being leaked using the music box. So many other things would slot into place so nicely.
Oh, what if the other music box is the dashes?
Could there still be something I haven't considered? What other music
Like
box?
there's another disc. Was there another disc? Or am I just incepting that memory into my own head?
I don't recall.
I thought there were any other music discs. Like I think he said that.
Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code?
Give it a try. Give it a try.
Okay, fine.
Give it a try.
Still every possibility that this music box is instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code's two tones are required, dots and dashes.
Yes, I'm well aware of that.
Then what?
Well, it would appear the defense of the hypothesis to put forward. You may present your idea at once, Counsel. How do you propose that the music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to decipher secret messages into Morse code?
Can I see what am I seeing?
It'll let me click stuff, so... It's the mechanism that turns the bumps in the disc into sound, isn't it? We never actually examined it.
Fair enough.
Yes, the movement. It's all thanks to the cone with its teeth that are plucked by the passing bumps. Usually the teeth on the cone are different lengths, so that each one produces a different tone. This comb is very strange. All the teeth are exactly the same length.
Well, what does that mean?
It means that no matter which tooth is plucked by the passing bumps, the music box will make the same sound. I've never seen a music box like it before.
Yes, it is strange. A music box can only play a single note. There's to be such significance to that, surely. Is that a separate thing? See how the former gilded disc sits in the music box the man deposited at Windibanks. Gonna be a more perfect fit.
So there's no question then, the disc was designed to be played in this music box.
Yet despite that, the sounds it produces are neither musical nor do they appear to be a box. Nor do they appear to have any meaning. This doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if perhaps there's more to this music box that meets the eyes. Maybe we haven't discovered all its secrets yet.
Can you flip it around? Is there another compartment?
There's a thingy here.
Yeah. Press the thingy.
Oh.
What is it, Runo?
I've just noticed something about this music box. Looks like the bottom of it opens up as well.
Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Alright then, here goes.
Look at that. There's another movement on the underside.
I'll show you another movement on the underside. So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side?
Yes, I think so. And it looks like the two movements are linked together.
They're linked.
If they had two discs, they would both play back at the same time.
See, I was right. There was talk of a second disc.
Okay, so
So I present the other side, I guess.
which side?
Yeah, the side that doesn't have the disc on it right now.
Ah,
No, that side.
I turned to.
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box.
What?
It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time.
Good heavens.
As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With the second disc in place, the music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message.
I mean, he's got you there, Von Zeeks.
This is beyond a joke.
You're
Sorry?
beyond a joke.
This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims.
Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well,
I can't at the moment.
If I may remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilder 2 months ago striking a deal over discs. The disc or discs.
Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue.
The link between Grid and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet.
Oh dear, looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Renault.
You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon.
If I must, though I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this point of this cross-examination. Probably should at least try to finish the cross-examination so we're not too confused. That make sense?
Yeah.
Some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilda anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man.
Oh.
So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilda had killed the brickmaker and stole the disc.
Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him.
That doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed? There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with Mr. McGilda and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. Not brickmaker from Harrison Quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together.
If you have nothing more to add on that note, let's return to the witness testimony.
Do we have the evidence already?
Oh no, we have to press still. Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
That's what, yep. Well said. Silly me, dog. Thought we was just bopping over to see if or not after all them years, but the rot had a dodgy job for us. Ash?
Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours?
Well, there's social kind of bandage, you know? Sure. Let's say Grayson's and old China. Or you can hit cheekies. Cheekies.
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin?
They go bloop bloop.
No, the other Mr. Skulkin.
What? Me?
When your brother was testing just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react?
Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a very old laugh together way back when.
Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean?
Yeah, with Ash. I mean, you look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it.
Believe it.
But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us.
Yeah, and I'm also sure that whistle and flute means suit. Is that so?
But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. He was coming up with smart ideas like what never ever through our heads.
God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a cook guy.
Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit.
Oh, the geezer asked us a question, did he? And we was answering.
Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow?
Add it to the testimony. Add it to the testimony. Add it to the testimony.
My lord.
Yes, counsel.
The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case.
Yes, it does.
Very well, counsel. I'll permit the brothers to supplement the testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Hoo-ha.
Say no more.
Skulkins never
Skulkin.
Oh, we got it this time, Ringo.
Yeah, that was better than the last 420 times.
Milverton and Skulkins milk run.
Oops, I didn't mean to hit right. Well, all of a sudden seems to be up for next a serious matter of national security. Though all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage.
It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the breaking of Winterbanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGill did.
No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered.
If only there was some link between the two men somehow.
I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. Wonder if the key to us making headway with our cross-examination here could be those two brothers.
Yum, 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 yum. I kind of want a pear right now.
I kind of want an apple right now. Actually,
Apples
no,
and pear.
I'd prefer a pear. I don't like apples
Right?
much.
There's certain apples that I prefer.
I'm just not big on apples.
I usually...
Well, at least not raw apples, just plain.
Any pear's a good pear. Some apples are good apples.
You're a good
And,
apple.
thank you so much. A good apple too, Ringo.
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
Oh, just a little scheme we had going back when we were youngsters. A bit of really.
Delivering fresh milk to locals. That's what it was all about.
Sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch.
It wasn't actually cow milk, like.
I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what?
The business model.
The business model?
Yeah, so you take a couple of roosters,
So,
and
how did your little business work exactly?
well, every morning on our way, the milkman will come with a cart to deliver milk. See? Yeah, if you're stuck your empties outside the front door, you will leave them full again, right?
So, we swooped in on the action. Got people to sign up with us. We promised to deliver milk for half the price of the other geezers doing it. People couldn't wait to sign on the dotted line. We're raking in, we were. So, did he live on a dairy farm or something? Gordon Bennett, I have Hiraka. We had nothing. We were too poor to have a farm. Right.
Nah, what we are going on is simple. Once you had the idea, we just switch them over, see? Our customers empty with the full ones from anyone who wasn't on books. Doodle, right?
I think you mean to say a diddle. And that's a crime.
A diddle, a doodle. It was just a harm of it, though.
Milking the general public is a fashion most certainly not harmless, as you put it.
Well, it was Emma came up with the idea. Ash the evil genius. I mean Mr. Graydon. Yeah, Ash always added that in a book when we was growing up. Thought he was gonna get himself an education and get out of that slum we lived in. Education.
Education. Oh, we all ragged him about that, and we told him he was soft in the head to even think it. But look at him now. He's only gone and become a blinking communication officer, ain't he?
Communications officer, Mrs. Skulkin.
I'm really enjoying where I sat with that accent. It's just fun for me. It's not even accurate.
Chosen Wilson's milk run.
No, Iris, don't even think about it. So, you picked the wrong point to elaborate on. It was not the business model.
It was the name? It was the name. Oh, I don't really want to know about the business model anyway.
Come on. So much dialogue to skip through. There we go.
Because is Mason
Under the business
Thrice
name?
Fired Mason was Mason Milverton? Is that what it was?
Under the business name?
Yeah.
It's this business which is a bit of fun, you say. And it was just yourselves, Mr. Graydon, involved.
Yeah, chip.
Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from?
Oh, right. I thought a clever cogs like you'd have worked that out. That's it.
Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? Let me guess, you don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well...
It weren't the happiest of homes that you come from.
Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him.
She took the name Graydon and sick.
But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? That used to be your surname, did it? Of course not! This is all bunkum! I've been a Graydon since I was born! Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves,
I mean, you were gonna rely on the testimony of the two thieves before.
You're a communications officer attached to this. As such, your personal details would have been thoroughly checked at the time of appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Raiden.
Ugh!
Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mrs. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then?
Ashley.
Is that correct?
Very well, yes.
Are they gonna change it? Are they gonna change it to Milverton?
So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. The information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important. Any idea about
Yeah.
Milverton?
Thrice-fired Mason. His name was Mason.
No, about the name
Milverton.
Milverton.
Oh, Milver. Cause a mill, like, cause milling. Maybe you have to mill clay before you can brick it. I don't know.
Milverton is a character from Sherlock Holmes.
I was gonna say, is that a character for Sherlock Holmes? At this point, I should just say everything's just a character for Sherlock Holmes.
Listen, it's only like maybe a third of them at tops.
This sudden, we seem to be up to our next here at national security. It would explain a number of things, huh? Yeah.
Okay.
So we just got to present the notes that Suzato took
Where?
in the thing that he's not related to Thrice-fired Mason.
There?
Yes, that one, yeah.
These?
Yeah, because it says Mason Milverton.
Mr. Ashley Milverton. I'm surprised you remember that. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court?
No? Okay. Yeah, I'm not done though.
We're almost done.
Okay.
Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's a real explanation at all.
I mean, yeah.
The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Sleep, close the door.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand had been negotiating with McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? Do you mean to say Saint's alive?
Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? Ugh, I don't...
As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you join the civil service. And it really would take no time at all for the board to subpoena those records.
Grr. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded.